And with that, I hand it over to Rhonda.
All right, we're almost done. How you guys doing? Right on. Okay, so I'm gonna go quick because we're gonna leave it for questions, and we want you guys to have a chance to interact with us and hang out and talk about PhoneGap. It's been a big day, man. So, current status, we shipped. This stage is actually pretty treacherous. Yeah, that could happen. Not that deep in beer, so I'm gonna just quickly recap. Yeah, I'm gonna quickly recap where we're at. So Michael Brooks talked this morning, showed you off a little bit of the CLI tools and the direction we're going. We're really happy about this. And the big story behind these CLI tools is the unified project structure. We used to tell you, hey, use any part of PhoneGap that you want, and people would be like, cool, I'm building this web code for iOS, now how do I get that in Android? And our answer was either symlink it, or copy-paste it, or do Git submodules, and all those answers just suck. So the CLI tools really fix that. It's a big deal. The PhoneGap CLI is the Cordova CLI. These things are the same thing, and they're totally interoperable, and you can work with them in any way that you want. But we're hoping you're going to want to use the PhoneGap CLI because it backs into PhoneGap Build, which is gives you the ability to build for any platform at any time, which is awesome. Plugman is the other big part of this story. So you don't need to know about Plugman if you're using the PhoneGap CLI, but if you're using the Cordova CLI, you do need to use Plugman. Plugman was started, I think, by Andrew Lunny. He's here somewhere, probably wearing a mask or trolling Joe. And Anis Qadri took it over, and the big sort of next question is, how do we do discovery? So you can, right now, there's plugins all over the place. And in particular, there's plugins in this one place that, you know, this repo has just got to die. And it's cool, like you would install a plugin by like clicking in here, and then you would read the README, and you'd copy paste some files, and then something would change, and you'd have to copy paste. This is just not how software development should work. So Anis is giving demos of our new plugin repository, and there's going to be a bunch of these. This is a big deal. So all of the things will be listed here, and you can submit plugins today for PhoneGap Build too. So this isn't just something that's in Cordova limit. So some numbers. We've had over 2 million downloads to date. We don't actually know how many times we get downloaded because we only track what we download. We don't track like things like people forking PhoneGap. So we know there's a lot of people that use it, which is crazy awesome. For some context, we had about 100,000 downloads in 2010. We're getting that every month. Getting about roughly 1 million visitors to the website every month, and this is a huge opportunity for you guys as app developers building PhoneGap applications. We want to share your stories, and we have this fire hose of people using PhoneGap today that are coming to PhoneGap.com. And so if you've built an app, or you want to talk about how you build apps, or you just want to write a blog post, let us know, and we'll get you up there, get you to that audience. The other interesting thing about PhoneGap, and this is mobile in general, and Joe talked a lot about this today. It's a global audience, and it's changing all the time. So this is our top 10 today. It's really fascinating to me because you see the BRIC countries, which Joe will talk about at length too, really climbing up in the top. So the BRIC is Brazil, India, China. Like China wasn't even in our top 10, I think, a few years ago. So if you look at 2011, you can see a huge difference between these two. The emerging markets are going to be a really big deal. And you know, if we go back to 2008, it was really only that time. Cadence is so important to software development, and we've been shipping now for 3 years consistently every month, and shipping a major release to a date every year. And I can't stress enough how good this way of building software is. And I think that if there's any lesson from PhoneGap, when you're building our applications, but look at releasing on a regular schedule and not prioritizing features to dates. It's a great way to build software. So, closing clubs and crushing bugs, as I like to say. So, we're roughly closing around 500, opening and closing 500 bugs a month now in the Apache Cordova team. And you know, this is remarkable. You don't see this happen ever in software. So a big round of applause for all the committers in Apache. Now, Apache way is it's individuals over organizations, and the individuals in Apache and at Cordova, we're going to be working together the next month to talk about what 4.0 looks like. I'm going to throw out some conjecture. These are just my ideas as an individual. This isn't a roadmap that's going to happen necessarily. But I think this is stuff we want to work on. So one of the things that is important to the web is accessibility of information for everybody as the core tenet of what Tim Berners-Lee put forward with the web. And this is really important to us too in the Apache Cordova project and at Adobe PhoneGap. So we're looking at accessibility as a priority in the coming year. We want to see apps being built that are accessible by default. iOS and Android have great features for this, but they haven't been totally normalized. I was at eBay a little while ago, and I met an accessibility expert that was there. He's blind, and he showed me his PhoneGap app, and it blew my mind. He's a software developer. So we want to make this easier and better for everybody. Plugin discovery, like I just showed you, is coming really soon. We're going to be auditing our APIs and working with some folks in the Adobe Web Platform team that work with standards, Sylvain, who's done a huge audit for us and given us a roadmap essentially of how to get all of PhoneGap's plugin APIs up to spec. The great thing about this new plugin architecture is you don't have to opt into these, or you can opt into any version of these. In the future, we're not doing big balls of updates, so this is good news. There's new platforms, so Firefox OS. Like, Firefox OS, it's coming, man. It's going to be awesome. This is what we're looking for. The web is a platform. Ubuntu and Tizen are also coming soon. Google guys considered this. There's an app harness, and so we realized we could ship a PhoneGap app that could load a URL, and you could just do your development on your desktop as Liza described. And so why don't we just do that? We've started developing it. It's called App Harness. You can expect that soon. And then finally, another area that's really important to me is testing. Phil and I has built a tool called Medic, which we use for testing inside of Cordova. I want every developer to be able to do this. So when you push a commit, you'll know if your app works on all these different phones. How awesome would that be? We need that. There's a huge amount of corporate support for PhoneGap, and so a round of applause for these guys for sponsoring developers. While I'm on the thank you train, Colene, Rhonda, and Liz essentially organized all of this. So I want to thank Clint. And follow him on Twitter. I want to thank Andrew Lunny for starting the Joe McCann troll. And thank you to all of our speakers, our committers, the sponsors, and Adobe for pushing the web forward. That's it. So I think we're ready to do some questions. If committers want to come up and presenters, I think we're just going to hang out. If anyone had any questions, cool. If not, we can just like dive into the beer. Not physically dive into the beer yet. Actually, we could do that. That would maybe fun. Next year. Next year.